Today I'm doing something that surprisingly I've never done before in my life. After traveling full-time for over a year, today I'm going on my first fully solo trip. Usually when I travel with friends and family, or I travel to go visit friends and family. Honestly, it's quite intimidating going on my first solo trip, but I think the destination I chose should be a good one. I'm gonna go to Kyushu in Japan, Fukuoka, Kumamoto, and Nagasaki. I'm really excited to go visit an unfamiliar region in a country that I've been to multiple times before. So yeah, it's 30 minutes until boarding. See you guys in Japan. Be sure to stay to the very end for a cost breakdown of this entire trip. I've landed in Japan and our first stop is Osaka. Unfortunately, there are no direct flights over to Fukuoka, so I'm here and then I'm gonna go take a night bus all the way to Fukuoka. It will probably take like 10 hours, which is way cheaper than taking the Shinkansen. And I've never taken a night bus before in Japan, so it will be an experience. The bus tonight is near Umeda Station, and I can take an airport train that goes there directly. Taking a train in Japan is super easy. You don't need to go line up and get a ticket, just get a Suica card. You can even apply for it on your Apple Wallet if you use an iPhone. I'm sure there's a similar version for Android as well. And then you just scan it at the gate and take the train like you would take the subway. So I just stored my bags in one of the coin lockers. It's really convenient here. It costed me 700 yen for the day. And now I have around 8 hours to kill until my bus to Fukuoka. So cue the montage for my short day trip in Osaka. At last, I made it over to the Umeda Sky Building, and the bus station is right inside. This bus company is called Willer Express, which is one of the most popular overnight highway buses if you want to go long distance in Japan. From Osaka, you can go to places like Tokyo or like Fukuoka, which I'm going to right now. This is a lot slower than taking the train. It's probably the slowest method to get from Osaka to Fukuoka. If you take the Shinkansen, it will only be 2.5 hours, but it costs nearly 100 US dollars. Here, the overnight bus costs around 35 US dollars, and you get to save one night of hotels. So if you're on a budget, I think this is a good plan. In the lounge here, there are vending machines and places to charge your devices, so that's good if you're low on battery like I am. Top tip, when traveling to Fukuoka by either train or bus, your destination will most likely be Hakata Station, the major transportation hub, and you won't actually see the name Fukuoka anywhere. The seats on the bus are a little small but comfortable. There's a little cover to give you some extra privacy, and a USB-A charging port. Okay, time to go to bed. After a couple of hours, we're here at a service station. There's no toilet on the bus, so you have to come use the toilet here at the service station. The toilets here are really clean, just like most of them in Japan. I've never seen a Japanese service station before. It's actually really pretty. There's a hall selling food and snacks, but I don't think I'm gonna eat right now. It's nearly midnight. After a long bus ride that was actually quite pleasant, I am here in Fukuoka. I just stored my bags in one of these lockers and now I'm gonna go find something to eat. It's just around the busiest time of day right now at 8 a.m. in the morning. There's so much movement going on at this station. I got myself a nice rice ball, but I can't find a place to sit down and eat. So I'm just standing right outside the station right now. I think I'm gonna finish my breakfast and then I'm gonna go explore Fukuoka. Even though I barely got any sleep yesterday night on the bus, with the sunshine out and this clear blue sky, I feel energized again. My first stop today in Fukuoka is the Hori Park. While Hakata Station is obviously really crowded right now in the morning, there's actually barely anyone here at Hori Park, so it's a great time for a morning walk. I'm not gonna lie, solo traveling still feels kinda strange to me. There's nobody to talk to, I can go wherever I want, don't need to ask for anyone's opinion. But even just one day in this trip, it does feel kinda lonely sometimes. But either way, there's no better place to do it than Japan. Here in the park, you can also find the Fukuoka Art Museum, but since the weather is so nice today, I don't think I'm gonna do any indoor activities. Right now I'm gonna head to the ruins of the Fukuoka Castle. There's literally nobody here other than some workers. It's sort of like walking through a ghost town. But I mean, they are castle ruins, so I guess it sort of is a ghost town in that sense. The castle really is completely gone. I don't know why I was expecting some more remnants of it, maybe like the ruins of a building, but the only thing that remains right now is the base of the castle keep, which is what I'm standing on right now. I think the perfect time to come here is probably during sunset, since you do get a panoramic view of the city, but it is really windy and chilly up here during the fall, almost winter time. Okay, I think it's time to go head somewhere else. The most important activity today is to go get a nice bowl of Hakata ramen. Here in Fukuoka, you can actually take the subway by just tapping your credit card. Of course, you can also use the Japanese transportation cards, but if you're going to take the subway more than 3 times, you're better off getting a one-day ticket for 640 yen. Now it's time to go try the dish I came to Fukuoka for, Hakata-style ramen. Look at that line behind me. It's already quite long. It's 11:15 right now. I don't know how long I'm gonna have to stand in line for. Hopefully not over 1 hour. The queuing process here is kind of complicated. You first stand in line to take order. When it's your turn, you go inside the restaurant and order from the machine. It'll give you this little ticket. Then you go back outside again and wait in front of the line to get seated. It's a little bit confusing, but the staff were really helpful. After around 50 minutes, it's finally time for me to eat. I got this Hakata ramen and a rice bowl that it comes with. It's a set menu they have for lunch and it costs 1,250 yen. I love tonkatsu ramen, so let's dig in and try this. Gotta start with that broth. It's so heavenly, my goodness. Compared to regular tonkatsu ramen, Hakata ramen always uses these super thin noodles. The broth is so thick and that pork bone flavor penetrates every inch of these thin ramen noodles. The other toppings are also very simple. Spring onions, wood ear mushrooms, and of course, chashu pork. I put my tongue on the chashu and it just disintegrates. Now I'm gonna try this rice bowl. It's so pretty, I don't even want to mix it up. I'm gonna put a spoon of that pork bone broth in there just to soak it up a bit. I'm not sure if it's the proper way to eat it, but I saw somebody else on the table do it, so I'm gonna follow what they do. It looks like there's also some shredded meat, some pickled vegetables, and of course egg and chashu inside this rice ball. That soft-boiled egg mixed with the mayo, mixed with the pork bone broth, even makes the rice ball super creamy. Kind of has the texture of a risotto now. After 2 sleepless nights, I lined up 1 hour for this, and it's completely worth it. Maybe if you come when it opens at 11 a.m., it'll be slightly better, maybe like 30-minute wait, but wow, highly, highly recommend. You just gotta have a bit of patience. Honestly, that was one of the best ramen experiences I've ever had. Oh, I'm so happy right now. So full, but so happy. Top tip, come at 11 a.m. on the dot when it opens, or maybe even earlier to keep the waiting time short for you. Check out how long the line is right now. They even had to separate it so you don't block the entrance of that building. Okay, yeah, I do feel kind of bad for these people. I've decided that I'm gonna have a bowl of Hakata ramen every single day I'm here in Fukuoka. So look forward to what I'm gonna have tomorrow. After lunch, it's time to explore more of Fukuoka, and I'm here at the Kushida Shrine. Just like most shrines in Japan, you can come here to get a omikuji, a fortune-telling card. So let's go test out my luck this year. So I got my little fortune slip. Last time I did this in Tokyo, I got bad fortune. Let's see what it gives me this time. Yes! This time I got very lucky. Like an eagle greeting spring. So I guess I'll hold on to this fortune slip, but if you get bad fortune, you can always tie it over there so the bad fortune doesn't follow you around. This giant thing behind me is a Yamakaza that's actually carried through the town during a special festival each year. During the 13th century, it's said to protect the city from a plague, but now the tradition continues and they do it as a festival each year. Apparently it only takes 7 people to carry this thing. They must be super strong, and they parade it for 5 kilometers around the city. Another nice place to visit in the area is the Tochoji Temple. This temple is famous for having one of the largest wooden Buddha statues in Japan. However, filming inside the hall is generally prohibited, so unfortunately I can't show you. It only costs 50 yen if you want to go see for yourself. The temple garden itself is free to enter and a very peaceful place to walk around. For my last stop today, I made it to the seaside near Fukuoka Tower. There is a beach here, but it's way too windy, so I'm not gonna go down. The Fukuoka Tower is actually the tallest seaside tower in Japan, so the view should be gorgeous. It's nearly sunset right now, so I think this is the perfect time to go up. The ticket for this tower is very affordable, only 800 yen. We made it to the top of the Fukuoka Tower. At just over 230 meters tall, it's actually not that tall compared to anything in Tokyo, but for a city with barely any skyscrapers, this is still a landmark building in Fukuoka. They even have this free photo shoot area. I mean, most observation decks have a photo shoot area, but here they give you a small card as a free gift, which is a nice touch. Okay, enough talking from me. Sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this sunset together. I spent 2 hours just taking in the scenery up on Fukuoka Tower. Definitely come like 30 minutes before sunset to get the best experience. And don't forget to get a commemorative stamp before leaving. Now it's finally time to go have dinner, grab my suitcase from Hakata Station, and head to my guest house for a much needed rest. Good morning again from Fukuoka, and today I'm taking a day trip to Itoshima. I'm going to visit Futamigara, which has this famous torii-gate that's on the water. It's around 7:40 in the morning right now, and if you want to go there in the morning like I am, you have to take a train over to the Kyudai Gakentoshi station, and then you can catch a bus over to Itoshima. After around an hour and a half train plus bus, I've arrived in the seaside of Itoshima. The easiest way to come here is taking a bus directly from Hakata Station without any transfers, but the earliest one is around 8:30, and that's probably the most popular way to come here as well, so it'll definitely be packed with people. If you like to avoid the crowd like me, all you need are a few transfers and some walking. That was actually a very quick and pleasant walk by the seaside. And what I like seeing the most is that nobody else is here. It's so nice that I get this entire place by myself right now. I think in an hour or so, there will be so many people crowded around here. So yeah, come early. As part of the nearby Sakurai Shrine, the Futamigara couple rocks are one of the most famous sites in Fukuoka Prefecture. The two rocks are connected by a shiminawa, a Shinto rope used for purification and to ward off evil. The white torii-gate, set against the backdrop of a clear blue sea, creates a perfectly elegant image. And now that the sun is out, it's even more beautiful. Of course, since these are couple rocks, many couples come here for photo shoots. Unfortunately, Rika isn't with me on this trip, so now I guess I have to bring her here next time. Oh, I came at absolutely the right time. Just 20 minutes after I got here, it's completely packed already. You're gonna have to wait a long time to get your photo if you come when all the other people come. Now I'm gonna walk along the sea and go further south to another small village. I think there are many cute cafes there, and we can have a perfect ocean view. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever been to rural Japan before. I'm usually just in the cities. I mean, this place is near a popular tourist destination, so it's not like in the middle of nowhere rural, but it's still a nice change of pace from the cities. I made my way to this cute seaside cafe called Lino Cafe. They serve pastries, gelato, and of course coffee. I ordered one of their green tea gelatos. They have really good gelato here. So yeah, I think I'm gonna chill here for a while, rest a bit, and then go explore again later. Well, that's a pretty perfect morning here in Fukuoka. I highly recommend coming out here for a day trip or even just half a day. I think there's actually a lot more to do around the Itoshima area, but it'll be easier with a car. Walking will probably take too long. Overall, this was still a very lovely morning. In the afternoon, there are many buses that will take you directly back to Hakata Station. Just look for this bus stop behind me, and the bus will come every hour or so. So I've made it back to the city center, and for today's Hakata ramen experience, I decided to come when it's not meal time. So there's no line at all. There's barely anyone here in the ramen shop. It's a very affordable ramen place and popular among locals in the region. This bowl of ramen only costs 650 yen compared to the 1250 yen I had yesterday. The ingredients are almost exactly the same, so let's see if it's good or not. No words, it's still super good. There's only 2 small pieces of chashu for the regular size, but you can always order the larger size. Compared to the 1 hour wait one, the broth here is not as thick, not as rich, but it's still really good. And it still comes with the soft-boiled egg and the woodier mushrooms that I love. Well, that was a fast and delicious meal. Objectively speaking, it's not as good as the one yesterday, but at 650 yen and no wait at all, I have 0 complaints. Highly recommend if you want a fast meal in a place that's not touristy. I'm not a ramen expert, but I have to say, I don't think there's such thing as a bad Hakata ramen. It's nearly sunset now, and today I'm gonna go to another tower, the Hakata Port Tower. Apparently the entry is free, and the view should be very different from the Fukuoka Tower yesterday. Let's go check it out. Looks like the light is perfect right now. I thought I was gonna miss the sunset, so I ran the last few hundred meters. I cannot miss this magic hour. Looks like I made it just in time. I think I might even like this view more than the Fukuoka Tower. Fukuoka Tower is a bit further away from the city center, while this one is right at the port of Hakata. So when you look out, you see all the boats, all the cruises, and of course the shipping docks. You can also see the busy city, the Naga River. It's just more within that hustling, bustling metropolis. It's my last day here and the sun is so bright right now. Today I'm going to take another day trip to the southern part of Fukuoka Prefecture. Right now I'm headed over to the Tenjin train station and I'm going to take the Nishitetsu train down. Before I go take the train, I got myself a Spam and egg rice ball sandwich. Today, I'm heading to the cities of Ogori and Dazaifu to visit 2 very unique temples and shrines. They're in the same direction, just make sure to take the train from the Nishitetsu station in Tenjin, not Hakata station. All the different train lines can be a bit confusing. Okay, I made it to the train with only 3 minutes to spare. This train ride will take around 43 minutes. I'm gonna get off at Mitsusawa station, so it's quite a long ride. There doesn't seem to be too many people on the train. I think it's over rush hour already. I have arrived in Mitsusawa Station. Time to tell you a little bit more about where I'm going today. In Japan, there are many shrines and temples with animal symbolism. The most well-known are probably foxes at Inari shrines. But today, I am going to a frog temple. Seems quite a random animal to dedicate a temple to, but that's why it sounds super interesting. It's around a 15-minute walk from the train station. Well, here we are, and immediately I'm greeted by a giant frog. I have arrived in the Nyorinji Frog Temple. Apparently there are over 10,000 frog statues in this little temple. Interestingly, there's actually a variety of different frog statues. Of course, there's the type that looks like a more realistic frog. But then there are also more cartoonish frogs. There are frog statues sitting down cross-legged, just like the Buddha. And some that I think don't even look like frogs, like these ones right here. They're literally just a ball with 2 eyes on them. But of course, this temple was not built to worship the frog. It was actually built to worship Nyorin Kannon, who is a Buddhist deity. That's why the temple has the name Nyorinji Temple. This temple became the frog temple when a priest brought back a frog figurine on his trip to China. And later on, his collection just grew over the years. He wants this temple to be a free, fun, and open space for people to come visit. People also believe that this temple has a strong power and aura that will give its visitors safety, prosperity, and good luck. This has got to be one of the cutest and most unique temples I've ever been to. Well, that was 100% worth visiting. It's free to enter as well, so you just need to pay for transportation to get here, which costs 470 yen from Tenjin. Now I'm gonna head over to the Zaifu. There's one transfer in the middle, so the whole journey will probably take around 40 minutes. I've made it over to Futsuka Ichi, where I'm going to transfer to go to Dazaifu. The next train comes in around 15 minutes. It'll be another very short train ride over to Dazaifu. Dazaifu is a small historical city in Fukuoka Prefecture, known for its rich cultural heritage. The most famous landmark here is the Shinto shrine Dazaifu Tenmangu, which I'll head to later. But first, I have to check out the famous street food on Tenjin-sama Street. The most famous thing to try in Dazaifu is without a doubt this mochi. They have it at almost every single store on this street. I think it's like a red bean paste mochi. When they make it, they have the white gooey dough on the outside and they stuff it with the red filling. After that, they clamp it into this piping hot grill. So when they serve it to you, it's really hot. It kind of burns my hands right now. Ooh, it's really soft and delicious. It's not that sweet, and it's not as gooey or sticky as regular mochi either. Yeah, it's really good, and it only costs 150 yen. I like that it's a warm dessert and not a cold one. It's quite cool to see that each store makes the mochi in a slightly different way, some more automated than others. Now it's time to head over to Dazaifu Tenmangu. This shrine is dedicated to a Shinto deity of learning, culture, and the arts. That's why it's common to see students come here to pray before exams, or simply to ask for good grades. If you come here and make a prayer, there is a right way to do it. First, you approach the building and toss a coin into the box in front of it. Then you bow twice and clap twice. After that, you silently make your prayer. After you make your prayer, you bow one final time, and that's the end of the ritual. Just like most shrines in Japan, you can get an omakuji, a fortune card. If you haven't done so yet, do give it a try. And if you get bad fortune, don't forget to tie it over here so you don't carry the bad fortune with you. Another way to seemingly gain luck is by patting one of the ox statues in the shrine. The ox is the guardian of the shrine and has a special connection with the deity, so many people believe that rubbing its head will make them wiser. Other than the Dazaifu Tenmangu shrine, there are actually some more smaller shrines in this area as well. So now I'm going to hike up to visit an Inari shrine. For those who don't know, Inari is the deity of rice and agriculture. The most famous Inari shrine is Fushimi Inari Taisha over in Kyoto, but actually there are Inari shrines all over Japan. This Inari shrine is still part of the Dazaifu Tenmangu grounds, but since it's on top of a hill, it's quiet here with very few visitors. And of course, just like all Inari shrines, you can see the fox statues and the iconic red torii gates. But I think I came up the wrong way, so I'm seeing these torii gates as I go down the hill. I'm not 100% sure what these flags are for, but they seem to have people's names on them. Maybe they're for people who donated to the shrine. I feel like you could spend a whole afternoon or even a day here in Dazaifu. There are other museums, temples, and gardens to explore. But honestly, I'm a bit tired now. So I think it's about time for me to head back to Fukuoka. I have made it back to Fukuoka. It's around 4:30 right now, so it's not dinner time yet, but that should also mean the famous ramen shops should have a shorter wait time. Time to try another place that's been recommended to me by so many people. There's still a line at Shinshin even at 4 p.m, but it was only about 30 minutes long. Okay, time to eat. For some reason, I feel like Shinshin has a very big noodle portion, bigger than the two other places I tried. Time to try the chashu pork. Oh, the soy sauce flavor is really strong in this one. You can taste that sweetness to it too. Out of the three I tried, I think this one has the best chashu. You can tell by the color that the broth here is less thick than Hakata Iso. So I'm gonna try something that might be completely wrong. For my last bit of ramen, I'm gonna add some chili oil to it. I'm not sure if you're supposed to do this or not, but I like my food spicy. That transforms the dish completely. It gives an extra kick to that broth, an extra umami-ness. It sort of heightens all the existing flavors too. Finish. The standout there was definitely the chashu pork. I kind of regret not ordering the portion with more chashu. Out of the 3 Hakata ramen places I tried, here's how I'll rank them based purely on taste. But if you consider the price and wait time as well, I think Ramen 39 comes out on top. You really don't need to go to the most famous restaurants. Another great place to have ramen in Fukuoka is of course Ichiran. They have their headquarters right there behind me. But you can find Ichiran pretty much anywhere in Japan. The noodles are quite standardized already. I'd say tonkatsu ramen is my favorite Japanese dish, period. And Hakata ramen is one of the most famous tonkatsu ramen. So yeah, I could have it all day. I love it so much. And don't worry, of course I ate other dishes here in Fukuoka as well. I just didn't film them all. Another dish really worth trying is motonabe and ofo hot pot. And of course the Fukuoka style gyoza, which is grilled on a hot skillet. I was gonna look for another place to watch the sunset today, but it seems like the clouds are covering the sun. So I guess maybe the light won't be that beautiful. For my last evening in Fukuoka, I'm here by the Naka River for a short stroll. Compared to more popular destinations on Honshu like Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, Fukuoka is far less visited. But maybe that's a good thing. As the largest city in Kyushu, Fukuoka provides all the joys and conveniences of any major Japanese metropolis, but at the same time, it isn't overwhelming or hectic. The outskirts of the prefecture also offers stunning getaways like no other. From calming temples to scenic coastlines, and of course, the delicious food. Fukuoka has quickly become a place I'll recommend to everyone visiting Japan. This morning, I am traveling from Fukuoka to Kumamoto, and I'm going to show you the most affordable way to travel between the two cities. For the first leg of the trip, I'm here in the Nishitetsu station in Fukuoka, and I'm going to take a limited express train over to Omuta. And then from Omuta, I'll transfer to another train that will take me over to Kumamoto. Going this way will take you around 2 hours and 30 minutes, but it's around 1/3 of the price of the Shinkansen. After a short ride, I arrived at Omuta Station. And now I have to go over to the JR train that will take me to Kumamoto. So I have made it over to Kumamoto Station. Obviously, this is not the easiest way to get from Fukuoka to Kumamoto, but it is the cheapest way. It only costs 2,000 yen. So now first I'm going to go drop off my things at my guest house and then go explore Kumamoto. I have made it to the guest house I'll be staying at here in Kumamoto. And this is actually one of those traditional Japanese guest houses. So everything is on tatami, and then you have to make your bed yourself over here. I've never stayed in a guest house like this before, so this should be quite an experience. The whole decor of this place is very welcoming and nice. It kind of feels like a Japanese home. Before heading to the sites, I got a quick bite at Matsuya, which is one of the most popular Japanese fast food chains. They have really affordable set menus, and honestly, it's not bad at all. I'll take this over McDonald's any day. For my first stop here in Kumamoto, I'm going to head over to the Kumamoto Castle before it closes. It closes at 5 p.m. each day, but the ticket office closes at 4 p.m. So let's see if I can make it in time. Looks like there's still many people lining up for the tickets. Made it into Kumamoto Castle just before it closes. The ticket cost is 800 yen. First completed in 1607, Kumamoto Castle played a major role in Japan's feudal era, and is undoubtedly one of the most impressive castles in the country today. However, the castle we see now is not exactly what it appears to be on the outside. We can actually head inside the castle and climb to the very top floor as an observatory. The original Kumamoto Castle was made primarily out of wood and stone. Back then, the building looked quite different. However, during a siege in 1877, the castle was burnt down and nearly completely destroyed. The Kumamoto Castle we see today was reconstructed in 1960, using more modern materials like steel. So it turns out the inside of Kumamoto Castle is actually a modern museum. And the top floor, of course, is an observatory where you can have a panoramic view of the city. I guess I was expecting this to be an old castle that's mainly in ruins, but yeah, everything here is newly constructed. during an earthquake in 2016, the castle was once again severely damaged. So reconstruction work is still going on in the castle today. So even though this is the restored version of the Kumamoto castle and not the original one, it's still nice that we get to see this amazing piece of architecture similar to its original form. And of course, when you're in Kumamoto City, this is obviously a must-visit destination. I wish I came here a little bit earlier so I'll have more time in the castle. The museum itself is actually quite big and you can spend hours learning about the history of this place. As the castle closes for visitors, the crows are back circling around the castle. You can hear them hawk in the background. This bear's expression always makes him look hilarious. Just outside the Kumamoto castle, there's this shopping and street food area. But to be honest, the things here don't seem too appealing, so I think we'll head somewhere else for dinner. While the most famous ramen here in Kyushu is generally Hakata ramen, but Kumamoto also has its own special type of ramen. I'm here inside this indoor shopping street and I'm going to check out this Michelin recommended Kumamoto ramen. It's also tonkotsu ramen, just like Hakata ramen in Fukuoka. But here, it's special because it uses garlic and garlic oil. When I walk into the restaurant, I can already smell that garlic aroma. Here on the ramen, you can see the small little garlic shavings as well as the thin layer of garlic oil they put on top. Garlic oil ramen is also one of my favorite types of ramen. I have it so many times before, but not specifically the Kumamoto ramen. I think this ramen here is more similar to the tonkotsu ramen I'm used to having outside of Japan. The noodles are the normal size thick noodles instead of the super thin noodles you get in Hakata ramen. The broth itself definitely has a milder pork flavor, but enhanced with that garlic. Time to try a piece of the gyoza. Oh, that's really good. Super juicy filling. The outer shell is still crispy as well, and I love that chili oil dipping sauce. I feel like compared to Hakata ramen, Kumamoto ramen is not as special, but I'm not saying this in a bad way. When I say it's not as special, I just mean it's a flavor that I'm more used to. It's more similar to the ramen I would have outside of Japan. Great bowl of ramen and gyoza. But like I said, it's a more universal flavor, more common flavor. Also means that it's generally universally loved. So when you're here in Kumamoto, do give Kumamoto ramen a try. Here in Kumamoto, other than taking the bus, the major form of transportation are these single car, kind of old-fashioned trams. But I think they look super cute and aesthetic. So I'm gonna hop on one right now and head back to Kumamoto Station and head back to my guest house. Day 2 in Kumamoto. First, I'm back at Kumamoto Station and I got a tram one-day ticket for 500 yen. Since all of the tourist destinations in Kumamoto are basically on that one tram line, this ticket will be worth it if you take the tram more than 3 times. What you do is you scratch off the date that you're going to use the ticket, and then when you get off the tram, you show the tram driver. This one over here is one of the newer trams. The tram is actually quite slow here. After a very long tram ride, I arrived at my first location of the day, the Suizenji Jojin. The ticket for the garden is usually 400 yen, but if you have a tram pass, you get a discount to 360 yen. It's so nice to see this city in the sunshine for the first time. This garden was originally built as a tea retreat by the people who controlled Kumamoto at the time, and later on evolved into this beautiful Japanese garden. This right here is a statue of Lord Tadatoshi Hosokawa, who is the founder of the Suzenji Jojin. I'm actually quite surprised that right now in November, there are still no autumn leaves at all. Maybe it's still too early. This park itself is actually not that big, but it's really nice to walk around during a sunny day. Inside this garden, there are also a couple of small shrines for people to come and pray. With the little fox figurines and the red torii gates, this is an Inari shrine. It's a very small Inari shrine, probably the tiniest one I've seen, but these red torii gates still make it look really beautiful. Other than the Inari shrine, there's another shrine here, the Izumi shrine. Many people consider the water here the sacred water of longevity. Apparently it flows down here directly from Mount Aso in Kumamoto Prefecture. If the water here really has mystical powers, I gotta get some of that for myself. I feel like when the weather is nice in Japan, you really don't have to do much. Just sitting here by this beautiful little pond, looking at the ducks, the birds in the sky flying, in this very chill and relaxing atmosphere. These simple little things is enough to put me in a good mood. I've always wanted to try this drink from the vending machine. It's a corn soup, and it's actually warm. Let's try. Oh my goodness, that corn smell, it's so strong. Just opening the lid and it just bursts out. It's creamy, buttery, and there's actually some corn kernels inside. Really nice. Suzenji Jojin is a perfect garden for a morning stroll, but it's actually a lot smaller than I expected, so you can walk the whole place in less than an hour. But I do suggest to take your time. Okay, now I think this is a great time to go find somewhere to have lunch. For lunch today, I'm gonna have this spicy fish broth tsukimen. Tsukimen is like a dipping ramen, so you dip the noodles inside the broth rather than it sitting in the broth when it's served to you. Here it is, the store is called Torpedo. I just translated what's on their banner. It literally says super spicy tsukimen. How spicy can it be, right? Famous last words, but I've been warned. Just like most small eateries in Japan, you order with a machine. Then you give the ticket to the staff. Look at all this chili powder on top of the tsukimen broth. I'm honestly a bit terrified right now. And of course, tsukimen comes with the thicker noodles so it can clean onto the sauce better. Okay, I'm gonna give it a mix and try this torpedo tsukimen. I think I get why they call it the torpedo ramen now, because it's an explosion of spiciness in your mouth. You know that Korean instant noodle that was really popular for like the spicy ramen challenge? This is probably more spicy than that. But this is of course more tasty than that because you get the fish stock and the pork bone stock together. Oh my goodness, that is unbelievably spicy. I'm drinking so much water. And I feel like if you stop and take a break, it'll be even more spicy. So the trick to it is just not stop. Even though it is like a torpedo bomb exploding in your mouth, it's surprising you can still taste the other flavors. You can still taste the pork and the fish stock. I don't know how they do it. The spiciness doesn't cover the other stuff. There's also a thick piece of chashu completely soaked inside that spicy broth. Even though it's ultra spicy, you can still taste that marinated soy sauce. My mouth is on fire. I probably need to go buy some tea later to calm myself down. But if you like spicy food, you gotta try this. Oh my goodness, what a meal. I feel like my spice tolerance is already above average, but that was pretty insane. If you like spicy food, this is a must-try shop in Kumamoto. This afternoon, I'm going to a place probably not on many tourist itinerary. I'm going over to Hanmyeoji Park. Apparently it has a very good view of the cityscape during sunset. The park is located near a Buddhist temple, and right now there really is nobody here, which makes me think, will this actually be good or not? Looks like it's not that long of a hike to go up. Maybe like 15 minutes. Up on this hill and temple, I feel like there's more cats than humans. I've seen like 5 or 6 cats wandering the area already. It really is so quiet here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of not used to seeing a place in Japan this empty. It is a little bit spooky. Now that I'm away from the temple and into the woods, there are still some people hiking this trail. So maybe there will be a nice view up there. It's still quite a beautiful trail, especially right now when the lights are shining through the leaves. Up on this hill, there's also a very impressive looking monument. I'm not quite sure who he is, but judging by the fact that he's overlooking the city, he must be a very important figure. So do I recommend this place to those of you visiting Kumamoto? Probably not. But I'm glad I got to see something that most people visiting this city have not seen. While this park is definitely not a must-visit destination, if you have some extra time and want a relaxing hike with very few people around, it's still worth checking out. Now I'm gonna head back to Kumamoto Castle, not to go in since I've been already, but there's actually a free observatory up on Kumamoto City Hall where you can have more of a bird's eye view of the castle. I'm back in the downtown area and I finally learned who that statue was up on the hill. It's the same man right here, Kato Kiyomasa. Kato Kiyomasa was the lord who oversaw the construction of the Kumamoto Castle. So yes, he is indeed a very important figure in the city. And the shrine I saw earlier is actually where he's buried. So that whole place I just visited is more important than I thought it was. To find the viewpoint for the Kumamoto Castle, take the elevator to the 14th floor of the City Hall. Here you can clearly see all the construction that's still going on around the castle. I'm guessing it will still take many years for it to completely finish. Over here on the wall, there are also many photographs showcasing how badly the castle was damaged during the 2016 earthquake. For my dinner today, I'm back at Kumamoto Station, and I found this Teishoku place that specializes in fried chicken. It actually looks super delicious. There's even this little guide over here telling you what's the best way to eat the fried chicken. So apparently first you're supposed to eat it without any sauce, just the way it is, and then you eat it with the tartare sauce. First piece, just the way it is, without any sauce. Oh, that's really nice. Perfectly crispy skin, while the chicken inside is still really tender. I've never had fried chicken with gingers before, so the flavor is also very unique. Second, they said to try it with the tartare sauce. It looks more like an egg salad to me, but I mean, that's good as well. That smooth, creamy egg salad is a perfect balance to the crispy chicken. Similar to oyakodon, chicken and egg always goes well together in the same dish. I'm genuinely surprised because usually you would think food in train stations is average, but here it's actually pretty good. I literally just randomly found this shop. I was looking around and found the one that had the most people, and this was it. There's a reason why there's a lot of people here. Final day in Kumamoto, and sadly, the weather does not look good at all. But it's okay, I can cheer myself up with some sushi. Originally today, I wanted to go try some horse meat since that's a very famous delicacy here in Kumamoto. But unfortunately, the horse meat restaurant I wanted to go to is closed on Sunday. It turns out many restaurants are closed on Sundays. So instead, I'm here at a conveyor belt sushi place to have lunch. I'm here at Sushiro, which is one of the most affordable sushi chains in Japan as well. My first batch of sushi is here, so I was wondering why the conveyor belt is so empty. And it turns out that they only put the food on the conveyor belt once you ordered it from the little screen right here. So you're only supposed to take the food that you ordered off from the conveyor belt. And the other dishes are probably ordered by other people. They're not just free to take. Over here on the counter, there's a label saying what color you are. For example, mine is light blue. So when the sushi comes, you'll know it's yours when it arrives with your color tray. So here are my last two plates. Even though it's not the fanciest cut, it's not bad sushi. Locals love it and it's always super packed. I finished my meal. I got 9 plates of sushi by myself. This way of eating conveyor belt sushi is probably less exciting than just choosing off the conveyor belt, but it also means that nothing goes to waste since they only make the ones that are ordered. Unfortunately, after lunch, it started raining, so I have to find some indoor activities. This gives me a chance to attend something that originally was not part of my itinerary. By now, you've probably seen this black bear a lot in this video already. He is actually the mascot of Kumamoto, Kumamon. Kuma in Japanese literally means bear, so it makes sense for Kumamoto to have a bear mascot. Kumamon was created back in 2010 as part of a campaign to boost tourism in Kumamoto Prefecture. Because of his cute and somewhat awkward appearance, he quickly became the most famous mascot in Japan. I'll be honest, I even heard of Kumamon before I heard about Kumamoto City. Here in Kumamon Square, you can actually have a meet and greet with the mascot Kumamon. You can watch it dance and interact with it. I'm here around 30 minutes before the show starts and already completely packed. Most of them are families with their kids, but I mean, it's not just kids, there are many adults here too. The seats in front row are all reserved for the children, so if you're an adult, you have to stand in the back. Well, that was certainly quite a fun, but also strange experience. Kumamon is such a big star. He has its own theme song, own fan base, and he's also such a well-traveled bear. Look at all the places he has been to. I don't think I've even been to half of these places. I'm kind of jealous. So yeah, I think if you have small children, they will really enjoy this show. Or if you just want to watch a bear dance. Originally, I planned to go to Mount Aso, which is probably the place I looked forward to the most here in Kumamoto Prefecture. But unfortunately, the weather just didn't play its part. So instead of risking it and potentially wasting a day out there, I just decided to stay around the city center. While this trip was definitely not as spectacular as the one in Fukuoka, I still genuinely enjoyed it. From the grand historical castle, to the foods that nearly made me cry, to the most adorable mascot in the world. In the end, my trip to Kumamoto was very memorable.
Thank you for taking Sunset Bus today. The next stop is Kumamoto Port.
Today I'm heading over to Nagasaki from Kumamoto the scenic way. As you can see, I'm here with a sailor Kumamon. I'm going to take the ferry from the Kumamoto port over to Nagasaki Prefecture. There is a fast ferry and a slow ferry, but only a 320 yen price difference. However, the fast ferry is twice as fast, so I think I'm going to go take the fast one. I got my ticket for 1,500 yen. This ferry doesn't actually take me to Nagasaki City. It takes me to a small port called Shimabara, and then I have to take another train to Nagasaki. Even though this seems quite inconvenient, the views are supposed to be absolutely spectacular. And overall, the ticket price, the ferry plus the train, it's still less than a highway bus over to Nagasaki, which takes around the same time. So hopefully this slightly more inconvenient trip will be worth it. I don't think I've ever taken a ferry before in Japan, so this will be a first. It's actually quite a luxurious looking ferry. There's this lounge area with sofas. It's not the boring old boat chairs. It seems like this is also a car ferry. I saw many cars driving into the lower deck. So most of the passengers here are probably on a car or even a tour bus. That's why it seems like there were not many people lining up to go the passenger route. I've decided to come sit outside since the weather is so beautiful. It seems like feeding seagulls is a very popular activity on these ferries. The people behind me, they bought a lot of shrimp chips, and the seagulls are just gliding next to the boat trying to catch the shrimp chip. It's actually pretty cool to watch. If you're going from Kumamoto to Nagasaki and you're not in a hurry, I highly suggest taking the ferry. And it's not even that much more inconvenient than taking the Shinkansen. There's no direct Shinkansen from Kumamoto to Nagasaki either way. You have to do a transfer. So this is a cheaper route and more scenic route. Seriously, why would you take a boring highway bus or the Shinkansen when you have such a great ocean view like this? If you're traveling between these two prefectures, this is the way to go. Welcome to Nagasaki Prefecture. From the ferry station, you have to walk around 5 minutes to get to the train station. And then we're gonna hop on the first of 2 trains that will take me over to Nagasaki City. Look at this, it's a very small 1-carriage train. I've now boarded a little train that will take me to my first transfer point at Ishihaya. Apparently this train doesn't take IC card, it only takes cash. It's quite old-fashioned. So just be aware of that. And it's good that I have a little bit of cash on me. This route is awesome because so much of it is next to the sea. Seriously, just look at that. And as we leave the seaside and head more inland, there are these beautiful green fields. After the 1-hour train run on the very scenic route, we're here at our final transfer point, Ishihaya Station. From here, I'll take the Nagasaki line JR train over to Nagasaki City. My train to Nagasaki is here. And finally, welcome to Nagasaki. I arrived at my hostel at 2:10, and I started my journey this morning at 10:10, so it took me exactly 4 hours to get here. Obviously, as you can see, this was not the most convenient way to get to Nagasaki. I'm gonna put the other major options on screen right now, including how long it would take and how much it costs. So for my first meal here in Nagasaki, I'm gonna have this dish called champon, which is arguably the most famous regional dish. I'm here inside this chain store that many locals like to come eat at. So what exactly is champon? Well, it's basically a noodle soup dish with different vegetable and meat toppings. The dish actually originated from Chinatown here in Nagasaki. They wanted to create a dish that's filling, nutritious, and cheap. You can consider this dish a cousin of Fujian cuisine in China. Okay, let's try it. The broth is still that delicious pork bone ramen broth, and it has ramen noodles too. They cook this in one pot instead of assembling it like ramen. And the ingredients on top, it's mainly vegetable based. It's not like chashu pork. For this bowl of champon, there's some wood ear mushrooms, fish cake, shrimp, pork, and cabbage as well. It's like something I will make at home, throwing ramen noodles, vegetables, and meat into one pot and cooking it. So why is this dish called champon and not something ramen? There are actually many theories behind it, but the one I like the most is that the name champon actually comes from this Fujian term that literally means to eat. So it makes sense that champon is a hearty dish that's just supposed to fill you up. When you're here in Nagasaki, you gotta try out champon. You can try it at any Chinese restaurant here in the city. There are many chain stores as well. Meal over, and now it's time to go see more of Nagasaki. Every time I come to a new city, I like to go to somewhere high and see the city from above, like going to Fukuoka Tower and Kumamoto Castle. So today in Nagasaki, I'm gonna go up to Mount Inasa, which apparently has one of the best night views in all of Japan. To get to the Mount Inasa Observatory, you can either take a cable car directly up, or you can take a bus and then walk like 10 minutes. Since I still have a little bit of time before sunset, I'm gonna go take the bus. Now I've arrived at the top of Mount Inasa. The bus ride over here was already so spectacular. Unfortunately, I couldn't film any of it since I was sitting on the wrong side of the bus. Now I have to walk around 600 meters up to the observatory. If you don't like walking, there's actually another cable car that will take you from the parking lot and bus station up to the observatory. This over here is the cable car, but it doesn't seem to be operating. I'll be honest, there's way more steps than I expected, but I think I can make it. I wonder why there's no one else here. Maybe all the tourists decided to take the cable car. I believe this observatory is actually free to enter as well. Ooh, the sunlight. I'm not exaggerating when I say I think this might be the best view I've ever seen in Japan. This view really has everything. It has mountains, it has the ocean, it has the islands, and it has the city. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Hong Kong, but without all the skyscrapers. Even though it's quite a large city, it feels small. The houses on the hills make the whole place feel like a little town, a small village. Good morning from Nagasaki. It's another beautiful clear blue day and I'm gonna go explore the city. But while I'm here, I feel like this trip cannot really go on without first paying respect to the most important part of the city. I guess many people visit Nagasaki and Hiroshima specifically to visit these places and learn about its history. You know, if I'll be honest, history was never my strong suit. It was probably my least favorite subject back in high school. Personally, I came to Nagasaki on this trip to see what the city is today. I'm interested in the beautiful scenery, the mountain views, the very aesthetic streetcars, its delicious food. But when I walked into this park, walked in front of these monuments, I can't really describe this feeling. It's a bright sunny day, everything is really beautiful, really saturated, really colorful. But yet the feeling inside is just tense and somber. Even though today it is a symbol of peace, I can't help but feel absolutely terrified for what it must have been like. This has got to be the most powerful statue I've ever seen. Not in the sense of strength, but in the sense of devastation and the message it conveys. 70% of the casualties were just civilians who had nothing to do with the war. Just within the 30 minutes I've spent here, there were probably hundreds of school kids visiting this monument. After seeing all the memorials, it's time to go check out the museum and learn a bit more about the atomic bomb and the history of Nagasaki. I feel like it's not necessary for me to speak too much about the history of World War II inside this vlog. It's something we're all very familiar with from history class. But this museum is still definitely a must visit. Looking at the artifacts, looking at the things that survived, looking at the things from 1945, and some absolutely horrifying images, that's history. Just north of the Hypocenter is the Nagasaki Peace Park. And the fountain behind me, it sprays up water like a pair of wings. It's designed to invoke the dove of peace, and it's also shaped similarly to the Nagasaki harbor. In this park, there are also many statues and sculptures donated by other countries to Nagasaki in a hope for a better future for mankind, and for the hope that Nagasaki will forever be the last city to ever experience an atomic bombing. In the center of the park is the Peace statue built during the 10th anniversary of the bombings in 1955. His right hand is pointed to the sky to symbolize the threat the world will always have to atomic weapons, while his left hand is put flat on one side to symbolize tranquility. He's also sitting in a half meditative pose, but the other foot firmly on the ground. So this statue is supposed to be sturdy in the sense of power, but also gentle at the same time. On both sides of the statue, there's also these towers made for paper cranes. Cranes are a mystical creature in Japanese mythology, but at the same time, they also represent peace. There's a belief in Japan that if you fold 1,000 paper cranes within a year, your wish can be granted. So when many of the school groups visit this monument, they would also place 1,000 paper cranes that they fold inside that tower. All we can do right now is to hope and pray the world never sees the use of another atomic weapon. Okay, after all that, I think it's about time to lighten the mood a bit. While this is an important part of Nagasaki's history, there is so much more this city is known for. I have arrived here at the Urakami Cathedral, but before I go see the cathedral, I'm gonna go get something to eat. For lunch today, I'm gonna have some katsu. I found this nice little shop near the museum, near the memorial, owned by an elderly couple. They specialize in katsudon and katsu udon. It looks really good. On top of the katsudon, there's also an egg, and I think it's cooked from that steam. Every piece of katsu is freshly cooked here. So when you order it, they immediately deep fry it for you. The part covered with the egg is not crispy anymore, but it's okay, it's still really delicious. The Urakami Cathedral is also a very important landmark in Nagasaki, but this one we see right here was actually the one rebuilt after the war. The original cathedral was so close to the hypocenter that it got completely destroyed during the bombings. When they built this new cathedral, they actually moved the ruins of the old cathedral. Part of it is inside the Atomic Bomb Museum, and part of it is displayed at the Hypocenter Memorial. If you're taking the tram a lot like I'm doing today, you can actually buy a one-day pass, which costs 600 yen. So if you take the tram more than 4 times, you get your money's worth. And you don't need to get a physical ticket. You can download the app and buy the ticket from the app, and then you just show the tram driver every time you get off. It's really convenient. After a short tram ride, I'm heading up to my next destination of the day, the Shuwa Shrine. This shrine is famous for its 200-something step staircase that will bring you up to the top. It's quite a hike. But you will not regret it when you reach the top, because look at that view. This shrine was actually built in an attempt to revert people back to Shintoism and Buddhism, the more traditional Japanese religions, after Christianity was gaining huge popularity in the region. So the government back then built this shrine as a center point for people to worship and pray. But the most interesting about this shrine was that it was not destroyed during the bombings, unlike some Christian churches like the Urakami Cathedral. So after that, of course, there are many theories saying that this shrine survived because of the power of Shintoism. In reality, this shrine was actually built in a very strategic location, so the mountains and the hills were able to block off the impact from the bomb. Now I've made it over to the Nakashima River, which is a small little waterway near the city hall area of Nagasaki. Something you gotta try when you're here at the riverside is this ice cream called chilling ice cream. It's really cool because he shaped it into like a rose shape. It's so beautiful, I don't even want to bite into it and destroy it. But I mean, today is quite a hot day. I'm even wearing short sleeves, so ice cream would be perfect. That's really nice. Texture-wise, it tastes more like a sorbet than an ice cream, but it's definitely like milk flavored. There are also so many students here lining up to buy the ice cream, so it must mean it's a local favorite, right? There's so many little bridges here across the river, and over there are these stepping stones where you can actually hop across. I'm gonna go see if I can go down there. It's nearly sunset now. You get this magic hour light already. And to watch the sunset today, I'm going to head over to the Nagasaki Seaside Park. Yesterday I saw this harbor up from Mount Inasa, and I already thought this would be a great place to watch the sunset. So now I'm here. This is awesome. I am really loving it here in Nagasaki, even though it's only been a day and a half. It's just the layout of the city, Nagasaki Harbor, with the mountains surrounding the city on all sides. I think even though I haven't experienced all of Nagasaki yet, I like it so much, not because of what I did. I think the most important thing is how this city makes me feel. And it makes me feel calm, relaxed, and happy. It just puts me in a good mood, sitting next to the ocean, looking at the sunset, looking at a city that's a metropolis but yet doesn't feel big at all. Honestly, I'm a pretty simple traveler and it's really easy to make me satisfied. When I'm traveling, I'm not the type of person who will just hit up every single tourist spot, hit up every single famous restaurant that people recommend. I just like to take it easy. And I think Nagasaki is one of those cities that is perfect for me, perfect for my type of travel. It has the cultural and historical elements I'm interested in. But if I'm too tired of looking at all the sights, I can always come down here by the harbor, just sit here by myself. As you can probably see, my itinerary on this trip is very simple, and I spend the most time at these scenic spots rather than like a tourist site. This might not be how most people like to travel, but for me, it's perfect. I don't need anything luxurious, anything too fancy, or an itinerary that's even particularly interesting. Like I said before, the most important thing about traveling for me is how it makes me feel. And really, all I feel is peace. Not in the sense like the peace memorial I visited earlier today, but in the sense that there's nothing to worry about. In the sense that this is my life, sitting here looking at this spectacular scenery. And it makes me really, really happy. Good morning again from Nagasaki. Unfortunately, this is my last day here and my last day on this Kyushu trip. A little bit sad to be leaving because Nagasaki has just been such a wonderful city. My mission this morning is to get some postcards. I always like to collect postcards wherever I go. So right now, I'm in this neighborhood called Hamamachi, which is sort of like an indoor shopping area. And apparently there's this bookstore here that sells many postcards. Surprisingly, it's been way more difficult to find postcards here in Japan than I expected. I want a postcard that's more like Nagasaki themed. So in the end, I chose this nice postcard of the Megami Bridge. It captures sort of everything I love about Nagasaki. The small town vibe, the hill, the sea, and it's in this nice watercolor style. I hate those photograph postcards. And in a big shopping area, of course, you will always find some good food. So right now, I'm gonna go try one of the most popular ramen shops here in Nagasaki. Hopefully the line won't be too long. So the specialty of this ramen shop is actually this tomato-based ramen. I've never seen that before. Visually speaking, it looks more like a pasta, but in ramen form. It looks like there's some eggplants and some vegetables on top. I mean, the smell-wise, it certainly does smell like a pasta. So hopefully this will be very unique but delicious. Let's try it. Gotta give that tomato broth a go first. Now that's a very rich tomato broth. but it doesn't taste like the Italian pasta sauce actually. It still tastes like a ramen broth. Let's give it a mix and try the noodles too. The black pepper and garlic taste is really strong. You get that hint of spiciness to it because of the strong black pepper. By default, it doesn't come with any meat on top. It comes with these sauteed eggplants. That's the main topping. The eggplants are so good. They completely disintegrate in your mouth, and they're also like a sponge soaking up that delicious tomato broth. I'm not sure if this ramen is vegetarian or not. Probably not, because I do taste some pork bone flavor to it. But I would never expect a ramen without any meat toppings on top to be so good. After you're done with the noodles, of course you can just drink the remaining tomato broth. But what they suggest you to do is actually to order a small bowl of clam rice and then pour the tomato broth on the rice and enjoy it that way. So it's like you're having a second rice dish with your tomato ramen. So I guess this is now a bowl of tomato mixed rice. Let's try it. The clams give this whole spoonful some extra umami-ness on top of the already super umami tomato flavor. So yeah, highly recommend getting one of these clam rice to go with your tomato ramen. Well, that was certainly a very great bowl of ramen, super unique taste. Never had anything like it, so highly recommend when you're here in Nagasaki. Of course, you don't have to order the tomato ramen. They also have tonkatsu ramen if you just want a traditional bowl of ramen. But I mean, why come here if you don't order their specialty? After lunch, it's time for my final day of exploring the city. And there's one more super popular destination that I have not been to yet, and that's Glover Garden. So I'm hiking up to go there right now. On your way to the Glover Garden, you can also choose to visit the Ora Cathedral, but I heard from many people it's not worth paying the 1,000 yen just to enter. So I think I'm going to skip it and head directly to the gardens. It is 620 yen to enter. I think there's also this included photo ticket. There are actually escalators going up this entire place. It's good to make it accessible. So looking at the map, it seems like the route is to take the escalators up and then walk your way around the garden and make your way back down again. So the Glover Garden is named after a merchant named Thomas Blake Glover. He is known to have contributed a lot to Japan's coal mining and, more importantly, the shipbuilding industry. So this garden also houses his old residence, which is one of the oldest Western buildings here in Japan. He chose such a brilliant place to live. You have the mountains, you have the harbor, you have this beautiful garden around you. Now we're here in front of the old Glover residence. This is actually one of the oldest surviving wooden Western style buildings here in Nagasaki. But I mean, visually speaking, on the outside, it doesn't look all that Western. It definitely has some Japanese influence on it. For example, on the roof tiles. While the exterior and the overall design of this house is certainly very Japanese, once you step inside, you can feel the Western influences. The curtains, the windows, the doorways. So this house really is this perfect combination of Western and Japanese architecture. Over here in front of the Glover residence, there's actually a place where they give you free photo shoots.
1, 2, 3. Nagasaki. Thank you.
And they print it out in this mini newspaper-like thing. And on this newspaper, well, it's not actually a newspaper, it's the description of the house, an introduction of the house. They also sell larger colored photos for 1,500 yen, but I think that's less special than this one. So yeah, come here and get your free little photograph. There really are so many angles here in Nagasaki that just give you a perfect view. Up on Mount Inasa, here in the Glover Gardens, down there in the park. I love this city so much. I think just within the past 3 days, Nagasaki has become a city I'd even consider living in. That's how much I love it here. But obviously living here will be completely different than visiting as a tourist. Or maybe not necessarily living in, but a place I will want to stay at for a month or two. And surprisingly, as it turns out, the gift shop here is one of the best places to buy postcards. So if you're a postcard collector or like sending them, this really is a great place to come. There's so many to choose from, more than the stationery store even. Another thing you gotta try in Nagasaki or buy as a souvenir is the castella cake. It was actually introduced to Nagasaki by the Portuguese, but it's super popular throughout this city. And today it is considered a Nagasaki speciality. On this street leading up to the Glover Garden, literally every single store sells this cake. I ended up choosing this store here because they let you try the cake before you buy, which is always great. It's basically like a sponge cake, soft, fluffy, and not too sweet, which is very important. I ended up getting the chocolate flavor because I think that one is the best, and I think this is just gonna be a gift for my friend. I made it down from the hill and now I'm here in Nagasaki, Chinatown. Originally I wasn't gonna come here because I heard from many locals that this place is too touristy and overpriced. Even though many famous dishes from Nagasaki such as champon and sour udon were invented in this area, the locals also say that it's better to eat those dishes outside of Chinatown instead. So I guess I'm not gonna be eating anything here, but I'm still gonna walk down this street and have a stroll. I was gonna stay on that hill until sunset, but there's still like 2 hours left, and Chinatown's not that far away. The sun is nearly setting and it's time to go head back up. The observatory I'm going to today is called the Nabe Kamari Observatory, which is I guess a less popular observatory compared to Mount Inasa, but it should have a very good view. I feel like every time I see a new viewpoint, I just can't help but stop, take pictures, film, and just look at this scenery. Looking at this view really shows you why I think Nagasaki has this small town vibe. It doesn't have any skyscrapers. It's just very low buildings stacked on top of each other going up the hill. It must be so nice to live in these houses. Well, I guess hiking the mountain every day might be kind of tiring and annoying, but that view though. Okay, I guess I understand why few people come here compared to Mount Inasa. The hike to this one is much tougher. I made it. When most people hear of Nagasaki, they immediately think of that one history-defining day. However, this city is so much more. Nagasaki is an absolute gem in Kyushu that may not be on most people's Japan itineraries. But from its rich history of international trade, which has left the city with strong Western influences, to its charming shrines and breathtaking scenery, I can confidently say that Nagasaki is now my favorite city in Japan. While life in Nagasaki has largely moved on from that day in 1945, the memory of those who were lost is still deeply ingrained in every resident of this stunning city. And I guess up here on this viewpoint, looking out at Nagasaki really is the perfect place to end my 10-day trip here in Kyushu, Japan. Hey guys, if you're still here, I want to say a big thank you for following my very first solo trip to the beautiful island of Kyushu in Japan. Kyushu is such an incredible region that might not be people's immediate choice when visiting Japan. If this is your first time in the country, then perhaps the more typical route of Kanto and Kansai on Honshu Island is the better choice. But if it's not your first time or just want to escape the crowd, I highly recommend coming to Kyushu. Anyways, let's get into the cost breakdown of this trip. I'm only going to include the expenses I spent inside Japan, so that does not include any of my international flights. I broke down the expenses into a few categories: hotel, food, local transportation, attraction tickets, shopping, and others. The most expensive part of each trip is of course the accommodations. I spent a total of 38,340 yen, around $265 for 9 nights, 3 nights in each city. I did also spend 1 night on the sleeper bus, but I'll include that in the local transportation section. Since this was my first solo trip, I decided to stay in hostels for the first time in my life. Usually I prefer not to when I'm traveling with Rika or with other friends. I thought I would hate staying in a hostel, but actually it was a lot better than I expected. Japanese hostels are just so clean and organized, so these are the 3 I stayed at. My favorite guest house by far was the more traditional guest house in Kumamoto. Plus, the Fukuoka guest house and the Kumamoto guest house also offer private rooms, but not the one in Nagasaki, unfortunately. Either way, all 3 are great, so if you're a solo traveler on a budget, I highly recommend all of them. Next up is food. I spent a total of 23,800 yen on food, around $165. Obviously, I didn't splurge on food. I never do fine dining or fancy restaurants. I just eat at local eateries or street food most of the time. And as you can probably tell, a bowl of ramen is what makes me the happiest. Surprisingly, the most expensive meal I had was that conveyor belt sushi, which was supposed to be a budget option even. I didn't film every single meal because some environments or restaurants just weren't suitable for filming, or I just wanted to enjoy a meal off camera. Next up is local transportation. Local meaning the transportation inside Japan, so no international flights. I spent a total of 16,060 yen, around $110. Transportation is actually very affordable in Japan as long as you don't take any taxi or the Shinkansen. I showed you in detail how I traveled in between each city, and those are all very economical options. It's mostly local trains and trams, and to save money, be sure to get a 1-day pass when visiting each of these cities. The next category is attraction tickets. To be honest, most of the attractions I went to, such as the temples or the viewpoints, were completely free. But of course, there were some that still costed money, for example, the Kumamoto Castle and the Fukuoka Tower. In the end, I only paid 2,620 yen for attractions, which is around $18. Shopping is a category that will vary a lot depending on who you are. Personally, I don't do too much shopping, mainly because I don't have enough space in my luggage to carry all these souvenirs. I spent only 6,100 yen on shopping, around $42. As someone who's been traveling without a base for a year and a half now, I just simply can't do too much shopping even if I wanted to. The last category on the list is just miscellaneous items, others. For example, luggage storage, SIM cards, and other daily expenses. They all added up to 3,940 yen, around $28. So in the end, my grand total, I spent around $628 for my 10-day trip here in Kyushu, Japan, not including international flights. Here is a pie chart of the expenses, and of course, the most expensive part was definitely the accommodations. It turned out to be a lot less than I expected. My solo trip had a rather budget-friendly itinerary, but I think what's the most important is that I still had an amazing time. Of course, your Japan trip can cost a lot more or a lot less than mine, but I think this just goes to prove that you don't necessarily have to break the bank to have a great time in Japan. So I think to end this video, I'll leave you guys with these beautiful scenes of Nagasaki. Hope you guys enjoyed this Kyushu series as much as I enjoyed traveling this amazing part of Japan. If you're new here, do consider subscribing to JH Medium for more travel videos coming soon. And as always, travel safe and thanks for watching. See you guys next time.